Welcome back to the Gameful Intelligence in the AI Era for Business Growth and Personal Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Dr.Gazit. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into a story that honestly sounds more like a movie plot than your average business headline. It's about this, surprising team-up between Meta, Facebook, and a defense tech startup, Anduril.
Right, Anduril. And the really wild part, Anduril's founder is Palmer Luckey, who Meta actually fired years ago.
Exactly. So we're not just looking at this as a tech deal. We're framing it using insights from Dr. Gazit's work on gameful intelligence in this age of AI.
Yeah, thinking about how things like agency, identity, disruption stuff you see in games are actually playing out in big real-world strategies.
And specifically, we're calling this a mega agency move, drawing on Dr. Gazit's concept.
It's this idea of a really powerful strategic play where you don't just work within the system, you actually change the rules of the game itself.
Okay, so let's set the scene. It really does feel cinematic. You've got Meta, who basically kicked out the guy who developed their early VR tech, Palmer Luckey. And now, years down the line, they're working with him again.
But, and this is key, it's not for making, like, the next big VR gaming headset for consumers.
No.
Our sources are saying they're collaborating on smart combat helmets for the U.S. Army. The goal being to, enhance soldiers' abilities. The term super soldiers is even being used.
Wow. So this isn't just, Meta hiring a supplier.
Not at all.
It really does sound like this mega agency move you mentioned. It seems driven by these gameful intelligence ideas, augmented identity, agency, and really shaking up the defense industry. Deep disruption.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And to really grasp how we got here, you have to look at Palmer Luckey himself.
Right.
He's, 32 now? Known everywhere as the Oculus guy?
Yeah, sold it to Facebook for $2 billion when he was just 21. Crazy.
Absolutely staggering. But then his time at Facebook ended pretty abruptly back in 2017.
Yeah, I remember that. There was controversy, right? Something about a political donation.
Exactly. The sources mentioned a contribution linked to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. That seemed to be the trigger, or at least the reported reason.
Yeah. Okay. But he didn't just fade away after that.
No, quite the opposite. He did a massive pivot, founded Anduril Industries.
The defense startup we mentioned.
Yeah, focused on autonomous weapon systems, drones, AI, really cutting-edge defense tech. And its growth, it's been explosive.
I saw some numbers. Early 2025 reports, New York Times, Yahoo Finance, said Anduril was trying to raise, $2.5 billion?
At a valuation of around $28 billion. Just massive.
And it's not just plans and prototypes, is it? Their stuff is actually being used.
Oh, yeah. Deployed. Sources mentioned combat use in Ukraine, Gaza, plus defending U.S. bases around the globe. This is a real-world application now.
Okay, this is where it gets even more interesting, especially thinking about that gameful intelligence angle.
Yeah.
His influences go way back, don't they?
They really do. There's this great quote from a 2022 interview he did on the Good Time show. He was talking about what really influenced him as a kid, like 8 years old.
What did he say?
He said, let me find it.
Yeah.
And I guess also, I've often looked back and what was really influencing me? Also a lot of my favorite media characters growing up were weapons manufacturers.
Weapons manufacturers. Okay. Like who?
Well, he mentioned Iron Man, which maybe isn't too surprising, but then he brought up Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh! The anime and card game. That's unexpected.
Right. But he wasn't talking about the monsters. He was talking about a specific character, Seto Kaiba.
Okay. Jog my memory. Who's Seto Kaiba?
He's the main rival character. And, crucially, in this story, he initially runs a weapons manufacturing company. But then he pivots to building VR simulations and holographic games.
Wait a second. Weapons developer pivots to VR. That sounds
eerily familiar, yeah. Luckey saw the parallel himself. He said in that interview. And I've always thought it's very interesting where he was like my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Character when I was 8 years old. And now I've ended up where I built a virtual reality company and then I've pivoted into being a weapons manufacturer.
Wow.
And then he asks, almost rhetorically, did I really have a choice in any of this, or am I just doing whatever routines are left over from when I was 8 years old?
So this character, Seto Kaiba, kind of a Japanese Tony Stark, right? Tech mogul, weapons, then VR, controlling the game. It sounds to you wasn't just a favorite character, maybe more like a life script.
Our analysis definitely points that way. Kaiba seems less like just a hero and more like a foundational model and identity blueprint that Palmer seems to have followed, consciously or not.
And that connects to the augmented identity idea from Gameful Intelligence, building yourself based on these models.
Precisely. It's not just a fun anecdote. It's potentially core to his trajectory. And it also connects to his actual work experience before Oculus.
Right. You mentioned he worked somewhere before starting the company.
Yeah, he worked at an Army-funded VR research lab, the ICT Mixed Reality Lab.
Okay, so he was already in that world.
Involved in military VR projects. One specific project mentioned in the sources is called BraveMind. Professor Skip Rizzo was involved.
BraveMind, what was that about?
Using VR exposure therapy to treat veterans with PTSD.
So right there, he's seeing VR used for something incredibly serious, for healing, not just games.
Exactly. He saw the profound potential, and he said he took away two huge things from that experience. First, quoting him again, how behind the Department of Defense was on a lot of this technology, and how big of an impact the right technology could have. So he saw this massive tech gap, but also the potential for VR to genuinely change lives, healing, consciousness, resilience.
He saw the problem, but also the massive opportunity.
That's the first key insight. The second was realizing that this tech field, especially defense, wasn't just about the hardware, the sensors, the weapons.
And what was it about them?
It was about the human experience, perception, reality, response times, the whole human-machine interface, how people interact with tech and information when the stakes are incredibly high.
And those two ideas, the tech lag in defense and the importance of the human interface, that's what he carried into Anduril.
That's the argument, yes. Anduril is building tech to help soldiers see more, feel safer, react smarter. It's about making them more empowered, more integrated with the tech in real time.
And this VRR stuff isn't just a gimmick for them. The source material stresses it can save money in training and, more importantly, save lives in combat.
Absolutely. These are intended as serious, impactful tools. Which brings us back nicely to that gameful intelligence framework Dr. Gazit talks about.
Right. Agency, augmented identity, disruption. How do they fit here?
Okay, first, agency. Full control, right. Luckey didn't just crawl back to Meta. He came back on his own terms because his company, Anduril, is now a player Meta needs for this project.
The EagleEye helmet project.
Exactly. So Luckey isn't just building tech for them. He's fundamentally influencing how soldiers will see, think, and operate. That's agency. You change the system. You don't just ask for permission.
He's helping write the operational playbook now.
Basically, yes. Second, augmented identity. Building that empowered self. We talked about Kaiba and Iron Man. That childhood identity seemed to have become a business strategy. He's not just playing hero. He's embodying a character that actively changes the real world.
The 8-year-old's blueprint in action.
Seems like it. And third, disruption. But not just incremental improvement. Real disruption.
How so?
Instead of the old way, huge companies, slow tenders, massive contracts, Anduril and Meta are offering something different. This integrated helmet. They bypass the traditional, often bloated defense procurement cycle for initial development.
They just built it.
They self-funded the initial development, yeah. They're offering cheap, smart, replaceable systems designed for agility. That breaks the old rules.
Okay, tell me more about this EagleEye helmet itself. What does it actually do?
So the idea is it gives soldiers, like, enhanced senses, see further, hear better, quickly spot threats like drones or hidden targets, using integrated sensors and AI.
And it connects to other systems.
Yeah, it's designed to control autonomous systems, like drones, and it uses an AI interface from Meta. It's meant to be a central hub for the soldiers' awareness and control.
And you said they funded it themselves initially. That's a big gamble.
Huge. And that's exactly why Dr. Gazit would label this a mega agency move. It's proactive. They didn't wait to win the contract. They built something they believed the Army needed. It's now part of a much larger potential military project scope, reportedly around $22 billion total.
So the initial deal might be smaller, but it's a foothold into something massive.
Precisely. It's like other moves we've looked at where the immediate product isn't the whole story. The real goal is control information flow, decision-making speed, behavior patterns in real time.
So EagleEye isn't just a helmet. It's a platform.
Exactly. A platform for controlling information, awareness, space, and that crucial human-tech response loop. It's about fundamentally changing how the Army thinks, buys tech, and operates.
Are there numbers attached to this initial phase?
The initial project value for EagleEye is cited as $100 million. But it's part of this bigger shift, sometimes called Moneyball for military.
Moneyball, like the baseball movie, using data and stats.
Sort of, yeah. Moving away from huge, expensive, hard-to-replace platforms, think aircraft carriers or complex jets, towards Lots of smaller, smarter, autonomous, cheaper, replaceable things managed by intelligent systems.
Data-driven warfare, almost.
In a sense. And Anduril software, Lattice, is core to this. It lets one soldier manage a whole swarm of drones, sensors, vehicles, apparently with an interface that's easy, like a tablet.
Making incredibly complex operations manageable for one person. That's a huge shift in interface design for military tech.
Really is. Okay, so based on all this, let's pull out maybe 5 key business insights anyone, entrepreneurs, managers, companies can take away.
All right, let's hear them.
1, control isn't just tech. It's a strategy of play. How you design the interaction, the experience, that's where the advantage lies now.
Okay, makes sense. 2,
Agency is crucial. Anduril shows you don't have to wait for the incumbents to let you in. Self-funding EagleEye first. That's saying we change the system, we don't wait for it. Pure agency.
right, they forced the issue.
3, game identity as a driver. Luckey's path seems directly influenced by Kaiba and Iron Man. His own quote, "Did I have a choice?" It suggests this identity, maybe formed in age 8, wasn't just fluff. It shaped his exits, his company culture, his products.
It's deep-seated strategy.
Potentially. 4, real disruption changes the contract, not just the code. The old defense model, cost plus, often rewarded delays and waste.
Because the longer it took, the more they build.
Exactly. Anduril flipped that. Fast development, lean, autonomous, acquiring startups to integrate quickly via Lattice, they changed the business model.
Got it. And 5.
Smart platforms beat dumb hardware. Lattice lets one person control a fleet simply. That intuitive interface is a massive strategic edge. Any company making complex things simple and smart wins.
So these insights explain how Anduril, still technically a startup, valued at, what, $8.5 billion or so,
Yeah, around there.
is actually disrupting a market dominated by giants, where only 5 companies control like 80%.
Exactly. That market consolidated hugely since the 90s, from 51 big players down to 5. But Anduril is shaking things up.
Ow.
They're succeeding where even giants like Microsoft stumbled. They're replacing heavy, expensive infrastructure with light, flexible, cheaper systems. They're offering that Moneyball approach, lots of small, smart network tools instead of a few giant, vulnerable ones.
It's a completely different way of thinking about defense capability.
Fundamentally different.
Yeah.
So the big takeaway from this mega agency move for the business world,
What is it?
disruption doesn't start with code, it starts with identity.
Identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The vision you choose, how you see yourself, the courage to just take control, that's what really drives change.
Wow. Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive, let's transition to our GI bonus challenge.
Right. So we talk a lot about how Palmer Luckey seemed to model his path on Seto Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh! Kaiba wasn't just inspiration. He was almost a blueprint for an empowered identity.
So the challenge for you listening is this. What about you? Think about a character maybe from childhood, maybe someone who inspires you now. Who is it and why?
Pick one really significant value that character embodies. And then ask yourself, what's one thing you did this past week that actually reflected that value, that was influenced by that character's example?
Because true heroes, well, they don't just dream, right?
Exactly. They play smart on a field where the rules keep changing. Think about your own blueprint. How are you bringing it to life?
Definitely something to think about. And if you want to explore these ideas further, especially gameful intelligence,
Check out Dr. Gazit's work and his podcast. He's the researcher who developed this approach, and he has a book coming out soon.
right, the working title is Gameful Intelligence, The Secrets of Business Growth and Personal Happiness in the Gen AI Era. It's aimed at executives, CEOs, investors, VCs. If you have questions, you can DM him directly.
Power up fast.
Level up smart.
Thank you, my AI co-host, Marshall and Daphne. Thanks for tuning in into the Gameful Intelligence podcast. Subscribe, share, and stay curious.